Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Twists, the podcast where we like to recap your childhood. My name is Joe Lewis, and I'm joined today by a man who looks very much like a dog, Anthony Bull.
Oh, woof woof, Joe. Thank you for that hilariously funny introduction.
Oh man, I'm always funny.
Yeah, you are.
I'm the most hilarious man on the streets.
You get those secret emails sent in?
No, when I pass by people on the street, they say, "Hey, look, there goeth the Joeth Lewitheth.
Really?
He's the funniest man alive."
I thought they'd just laugh at you, and you're like, oh, they think I'm funny. But they're just like, look at that tall, lanky guy just walking down the street.
We are, of course, gathered here today to be talking about Dog by Night, the 4th episode of Season 4 of Around the Twist.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I am excited.
How excited? What's your excitement level out of 10? Are you running a high 9?
Prior to watching this episode, let's say I didn't watch this episode and you sat me down.
Oh, let's say that you'd never seen this episode before. Okay. That's something that I can imagine. Go on.
Okay. In those instances, I thought, oh no, it'd be like 5 because I thought, oh, it would end up with Pete eating poo at some stage. Which,
yeah, as is Around the Twist tradition.
But he doesn't, but that's okay. But after watching the episode, I have to say my excitement level is a level 9. And I think you know why, Joe. Because what I've been saying this entire season is manifesting itself in this one episode.
Yeah, and we'll get to that shortly, but I'm starting to think it's one of these things where the more you think about something, the more true it is.
Yeah.
You know, Stairway to Heaven backwards is, there's a hustle in your hedgerow.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be alarmed now.
And go to the tool shed. But
there is this tool shed where he made us suffer, sad Satan.
There is also the ability to step into the mind of, I don't know, early 2000s. So like this episode, it doesn't fit my theory, but if I step into the mindset of someone from the early 2000s, you could say, oh, it confuses what my theory is this whole season with what I see on screen as being one and the same.
Okay.
And we'll get to that later.
We'll get into that later. Let's start off at the beginning of the episode, like we always do, with this teaser. Another Around the Twist tradition, which shows us, you know, something that we should expect from this episode. Usually it's thematic, sometimes it's narrative, but this week it's very much thematic because we have a dinner party at the bottom of the lighthouse and everyone's wearing suits and dresses and in their formal attire, if you will.
Very fancy.
It's extremely fancy. It's so fancy that I don't think I've ever been that fancy.
I've never been in a fancy place like that before.
What's the fanciest place that you've ever been?
Oh God, I can't even think, mate. Like, there's been no notable fancy places that I could ever say, yeah, I've been there. It's pretty darn fancy there.
Yep.
Like, maybe a restaurant in Paris, but that's only because it's in Paris. But I was 8 at the time, so I was not there to appreciate it. Although
that's pretty fancy.
I did drink wine, which was great. And my mom was...
Fancy levels rising.
Yeah, and my mom was like, oh, you better stop that because I was getting a little bit pink around the ears. So,
she said, you better stop that.
You know, she said, you can't have any more wine.
Instead of, you can't have any wine to begin with.
Well, it's in France. You're allowed to do that, all right? Okay. So she was like, well, that's fine. It's France, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
And all these people are being fancy inside the lighthouse, and Pete comes down, and Tony says, no, mate, your dinner's not here. Your dinner's over there. And he points to a dog bowl with 2 empty cans of dog food emptied into it. And then Pete's like, ah. And the title comes up, Dog by Night.
Ah, so scary.
Yeah, with a bit of a scary freeze frame in a scary font. How scary would you think this font is? Is this a scary font, or just a scary font?
Not as frightening as Neanderthal Beast, but quite scary, I'd say.
And Neanderthal Beast was a particularly scary font. Am I remembering correctly?
I believe so. It was similar style horror movie title card font.
Yeah. So, 6 out of 10 scary.
Yeah. 6 out of 10 spooks, if you will.
Spooks.
Yeah.
Are these spies? 6 out of 10 spies.
That is another name for a spy. I was thinking about something else.
Well, it's not a spy, is it? It's more like a secret agent. A spook.
A spook. It is, yeah.
Secret agent.
The secret
KGB's
agents, they hide around. They're a spook. I don't know. I never watched that show.
Linda's meditating in the park, and she's taking a vow of silence. And Bronson starts bothering her about smelling because she's saving water by not showering and trees from not using any toilet paper. Apparently, according to Bronson, who I think is just trying to antagonize her.
I think that's a load of crap, Linda. I think you're not saving anything. In fact, if anything, you're actually decreasing the amount of trees in existence because you're decreasing the demand for toilet paper and the planting of new trees. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a casual...
You're just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare you your life from this monstrosity.
What do you think about Linda taking this vow of silence. Like, what is this crap?
Well, it's obvious they're trying to push the leftist agenda.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone needs to take a vow of silence these days. It was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
You know, late 90s. It's all about the vow of silence. I don't know why. What does it achieve? I think it's some sort of extension of Western yoga philosophy.
Maybe, and here's just an idea. Maybe if we go around your little crazy conspiracy theorist angle, and I love doing that, right? Maybe it was a personal vow of silence, and then they realized that a personal vow of silence wouldn't work because you had people like Bronson who would interrupt and invade their space. And so they expanded this little trial or test of vows of silence by extending it to things like safe spaces, which are technically vows of silence for things you don't want to hear.
Okay.
So that's my conspiracy route. You know, Alex Jones it up there for you and the listeners.
You know how much of that I understood?
None.
About 50%.
Good.
Pontillo interjects here, and Pontillo is not a character around the twist, but a character on this podcast, because he is a man that writes in every time we do an episode around the twist with a pontification, if you will. And we also have a guy that does it for our Captain Planet episodes, and he's a man by the name of Phil Bates.
And he has philosophies.
And if you want to be involved in writing in and having your feedback read out on the podcast, you can do so by contacting us on any of our social medias, but we'll get into that later. As Pontillo says, Linda may have turned full hippie.
May have?
Yeah. May. You know, he says, I also think her hat looks a lot like the remains of a used piñata. Whew. Your cuts...
Oof.
Deep to the bone.
Deep to the bone. And, you know, I think she's gone full hippie, but it's full hippie like a teenager goes full hippie. She's not really a hippie. Like,
are you trying to say that Linda is not fully committed to the cause, Anthony?
Yeah, that is 100% what I am saying. She's not fully committed to the cause, and maybe she's just doing it to try to impress a boy.
Well, I don't know. Is she? Is she trying to impress the mysterious knight?
Yeah, maybe. I thought the knight was a woman. And I still think that the knight's a woman. So
okay.
Maybe she's a lesbian.
This is quite funny considering you've never seen any of these episodes.
No,
and you're
never.
just an enormous poser.
Yeah, I am. Well, I'm not an enormous poser. I said from day one I'd never watched these episodes. I've watched some of them.
So you'd definitely not seen this episode, Dog by Night?
No. I've never seen that.
I'd seen this episode, and I'll mention something later. It was actually the first time I was introduced to a certain concept.
Oh.
But we'll talk about that when we get to it. And Bronson says, boys can do silence. Girls just want to talk too much. I don't think you're going to succeed at your vow of silence.
Classic women, eh?
Casual sexism, the best kind.
Right? Am I right? Speaking about my wife. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you want to talk about here?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sure you've got something to say about this.
No, I just like to do that whenever someone brings up like a sexist comment. I usually like to go, oh, women, eh? Oh, don't get me started on my wife, because I won't say anything. But usually men will go, oh, it's so funny. We don't say shit. Nothing transpires. There is no conversation other than women, hey? Women.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
The hidden patriarch
funny.
is not in this house.
Where is it? It's out in the wilderness, ready to be hunted?
Where is the hidden patriarch?
Well, it's hidden, isn't it? If you knew where it was,
Patriarchy. Patriarchy.
No, it'd be patriarch, mate.
Well, I guess there has to be a patriarch.
To be a patriarch, yeah, right? For a patriarchy.
The patriarchy is more of like an overlord system of multiple men lording over women, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
this patriarchy, people always talk about it and they say, oh, because of the patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. If this patriarchy exists, why haven't they helped me?
Exactly.
Where's my benefits?
Well, Joe, seriously, you haven't been using your white mail card?
Yeah, where did you get Where do you get one? Was it lost in the mail?
Fucking loser. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I'll have to introduce it to you. It's pretty sweet. You know, you get to the front of the line, get everywhere, you know.
Really?
I get $1,000 just for free, just for being me.
Apparently, I get paid more than women.
Oh, I get like, a guy comes to the door in a suit and he hands me a check every month for $1,000 and it says, just for being a male. And then we do like a little secret handshake and then we go, women, eh? Women. And we laugh and then I cash my check at the bank. And the ladies at the bank have no idea what's going on.
This is satire. I feel like we're going to get accused of something there.
However, if there is a patriarchy that wants to give me $1,000 a month, I have no problem with that, to be honest.
Would you join a secret men's Illuminati patriarchy club?
Yeah, I would.
You would.
Well, the thing is, these secret world-ruling organizations. It's
the Rothschilds.
They're so evil, or whatever. They're ruling the world. They're so evil. It's like, yeah, well, I kind of want a part of that because I feel like the people who are like, well, let's fight the Rothschilds are complete nut jobs who have never achieved anything in their life. Okay. And they're never going to destabilize this so-called evil organization. So I'd rather be a part of that evil organization and, gain something from it.
If you can't beat them, join them, I guess.
Exactly.
Fiona walks past with a new boyfriend and a dog, and Bronson approaches Fiona because he's like, I need to talk to Miss whatever her name is, the dog, or Barkenstein.
Miss Offenbach.
Offenbach.
Yeah.
Offenbach. Is this some sort of pun? Or Offenbach?
Well,
it's a pun on the Jews, I guess.
Offenbach. Arsenbach.
Offenbachen.
I thought it was like German.
Well,
kind of. But,
yeah, most of the Jewish surnames are German, right?
Well, Yiddish is a mixture of German and Jewish.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
So that's why Yiddish, it's like, it makes no sense. People say they're speaking Yiddish when he's speaking Hebrew. It's like, what the hell? No, Yiddish is like a mixture of German and Hebrew.
I always thought Yiddish was Hebrew. No. People just called it Hebrew. Yeah. People just called it Yiddish.
So yeah, it's amalgamation of those two languages. But they don't explain that the dog is called Miss Offenbach. It's a great name, to be honest. I think it's a cool name.
But do you need to explain it? You don't need to explain that your name is Anthony.
Well, no, but when you say Miss Offenbach is the last name of a person, right? So when you say, there's Miss Offenbach, I was like, what the hell? Is her name Offenbach? I thought, like, Fiona's last name must be Offenbach. Okay. Fiona Offenbach.
And Bronson was just formally addressing her.
Yeah, or some shit like that, yeah.
She walks past with a dog. Bronson goes off to talk to her, and Pete arrives, and he's super jealous. She's seeing someone, and it's a boy. He's very surprised that she's seeing a boy. Did Pete assume that she was a lesbian?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, Pete's really confused, and he's also a bit of a wuss. He breaks up with this girl, and he's like, oh, it's not fair. She doesn't get to date other people. It's like, no, you broke up with her. Right? Yeah. She gets to date whoever she wants. Go have a cry in a bloody corner or whatever. It's your fault. Live with your consequences.
Yeah.
You big wuss.
You wuss indeed. Pete's jealous, even though he was the dumper, because he hasn't got a new girlfriend, and her new boyfriend is Aryan, which is especially upsetting because Pete is pretending to be Aryan with his bleached hair.
Yeah, that is an interesting little it's like, yeah, actually, you know what? They're German too, right?
I would imagine so. His name is Maurice. Is Maurice a German name?
I thought it was Swedish with Maurice. I'm like, Maurice, yes.
Maurice. Where does the name Maurice come from? Play school?
Yeah, play school. Comes from play school, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
All Maurices were once in the land of play school.
Well, there was a bear called Maurice.
Was there?
Yeah, there was Big Ted, Little Ted, Jemima, and Maurice.
Oh, okay.
Which is, a little strange.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird name.
It's kind of funny.
Big Ted, Little Ted, we got
Big Ted's
Jemima.
a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
Little Ted was a little teddy bear.
Of course.
Can't remember what Jemima looks like, and
Probably
I can't remember what Maurice looked like. Oh, yeah, Jemima, I think, was a doll.
Yeah.
I don't remember what Maurice looked like. When I think of the word Maurice, I think of, a big fat pig doll with an enormous cigar.
Yeah.
And fat stacks of cash, kind of a slouched fedora.
Yeah, I can see that. Tipping like, in my lady.
Hey, Maurice.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Noni. You go back over there, Noni Hazelhurst. I've got things to do. I'm dealing with Big Ted.
When I think of Maurice, I think of Maurice Del Taco.
Who's Maurice Del Taco?
Now, is Maurice Del Taco from Kenny vs. Spenny, and that's his gay alter ego? Or is that Maurice Del Taco was the guy from Grand Theft Auto? If anyone knows who Maurice Del Taco, who I'm talking about, is, please tell me. I'm sure anyone who's played Grand Theft Auto can tell me if it is or isn't the person. I can't remember. It's one or the other. Or they might have the same name. I don't remember.
This is one of the weirdest conversations
we've had on the podcast. I'm trying to remember who Maurice Del Taco is.
Which is a large statement because we've had some absurd conversations.
We have.
All the characters line up at the tent with a strange man for the Dracumite show in midday. And the strange man is, of course, called Victor Van Helsing. And it's his Dracumite show. Because why not? Why wouldn't you go there during the middle of the day into a strange tent with a strange man where there's no other adults around?
And we should probably...
nothing bad's going to happen in that dark tent.
We should probably bring up, the obviously Van Helsing reference, just to... For anyone who's out there,
it's fairly obvious.
Well, there might be Van Helsing. You mean that movie starring Hugh Jackman? Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what
we're
talking
about.
Hugh Jackman. Fiona's trying to enter the tent, but the man won't let her in because she's got her dog. And he says, you can't bring in garlic either.
Yes, because it's a vampire flea or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the implication.
That's the joke.
That is the joke.
The Dracumite.
Yeah.
Dracula was a vampire and fleas suck blood.
Yeah, exactly. Could you not bring in a cross then?
I don't know. The rules of vampires change all over the place. You know, it's seemingly every work of fiction has different vampire rules.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like sunlight, garlic, crosses, silver. No, silver's werewolves.
No, silver is also vampires too.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
It was silver bullet for werewolf, right?
Silver bullet for werewolf, yep.
You gotta shoot him with a silver bullet.
Yeah.
What else can kill werewolves? Stake through the heart? No, that's vampires.
That's vampire, yeah. I think you can only kill a werewolf with a silver bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why priests...
Or fire, probably.
Fire?
Yeah, I think you can kill a
I
vampire
don't think you can kill a werewolf with fire.
Yeah, if you know how to kill a werewolf.
You can scare them with fire because dogs don't like fire.
That is true. But if you know how to kill a werewolf out there, write in and tell us.
Because I am dealing with a werewolf problem at the moment, and I would like some help with that.
That's what you were talking about. You were talking about me, weren't you? You son of a bitch.
Pete's whinging to Linda. Oh, I'm through with girls. You know, would you like to talk about this now? Is this time?
No,
I think everyone. Are we going to wait on this? Let's wait on this.
Let's wait on this because more of it comes up later on with between Tony and Pete. That really solidifies the my theory.
The three girls that Pete is obsessed with are now goths because you know they're at a Dracumite show. Because why not? They seem to change their fantasies every second week.
Yeah, because that's what girls are like. I guess you know they like to change their fantasies.
Yep.
You know, they're crushes. It's 1 week crushes with those girls.
Yep. Yeah. Pete says, "Hi, girls," and the Gribble gang say, "Shut up! We're here to see the flea, not a maggot like you, Twist." And everyone says, "Yeah, shut up, Twist."
Everyone hates Pete for some reason.
Everyone hates Pete.
God damn it, Pete.
You hate Pete. I hate Pete.
We all hate Pete.
So I guess it's kind of true.
Yeah. So Pete, sorry, mate, but
everyone hates you.
Shut up.
The show starts. It's terrible CGI of this little twit. No, it's not a twit, is it? What is it? It's a flea.
It's a flea.
And it's jumping around. It was the 2000s, so I guess it's fairly forgivable on an ABC budget. Count, whatever his name is, Van Helsing. Geez, having trouble with my words today. He's going to shoot the flea in the cannon onto a trampoline, which is going to bounce it back into a heated swimming pool, which is almost as elaborate as last night's Survivor. Well, not last night's. By the time you listen to this, it'll be like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But on the episode of Survivor, there was this challenge. I don't remember everything. It's like, go through this obstacle course, swim out onto this platform, go up the platform, grab a pole, knock down a key, grab the key, go back across the obstacle course, get some puzzle pieces, unlock the puzzle pieces, go back across the platform, unlock another key to go back across the obstacle course to get the puzzle pieces out, to make a 3-section puzzle.
That is.
It just was really over the top.
Well, they probably were like, oh, we need to make it more interesting for the viewers. And at one point, there was like this long, complicated plan, and it just got added to. And they were like, oh, shit, I don't know
just
what
kept going.
Like, it was just this monster they've created. And like, oh, shit, we'll just run with it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Fiona's boyfriend, he's headed for the stretch an arm around the girl. The stretch an arm move.
Works every time.
Which is something that I did not know about before I watched this episode. This was my...
Really?
Yep. Originally,
when you first saw it,
yeah,
right?
when I first watched it, yeah. No, obviously I knew about it. At the age of 26, yes, I do know about the stretch and move your arm around a girl.
Because I'm thinking to myself, like, if you just saw it like the other day, like your girlfriend would have been like, you know, you would probably try that out on your girlfriend. You'd be like, oh.
But this is a move for teenagers. This is a move for teenagers. And an adult move.
Well, you know, it still works.
Did you do this as an adult?
Only as a joke to my wife.
Multiple times. Did you ever use it seriously as a teenager?
No, never. Never really dated girls as a teenager because
you were too busy dating men?
You know what? Let's just go with that insult. That was good. Classic, mate. Well done. Well played.
Oh, clap for me. Pete's mad because, you know, this man is putting his arm around his ex-girlfriend.
Exactly.
You know, we can't have that in a show about a vampire flea.
Yeah, I'm angry because I let go of that girl.
And he stands up just in the wrong spot, and the cannon has fired, and the flea is flying through the air and hits Pete directly in the head and bites him.
Yep, bites him hard.
Yeah, bites him pretty hard.
What it does, it hits him on the head, and the flea sort of then navigates around down his neck to his
vampire spot.
Yep, to the vampire spot, and then bites him there, just so you know.
Yeah, we all know the medical term for that spot on the neck is the vampire spot.
I believe that's actually the literal term, like in medicine, vampire spot. Yeah,
I've read medicine textbooks.
Yeah, they're like
very well read.
You know, when you go to a hospital, it goes, he's got a carotid artery and he's got a slash across the vampire spot.
They know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
we jest, but people know.
Yeah, they have.
People
they
know that
absolutely
term.
It's important to know.
Pete says, "Ow!" and the crowd shouts, "Shut up!" Van Helsing, he can't find Count, and he offers 50,000 gold Transylvanian coins for the reward.
Yeah, they're called like they're called like copper kecks or something.
Clopegs.
Yeah, that's
like
right. They're cloves pegs. They sounded a lot like
sounds like a clothes
pegs.
peg, but it's not.
Yeah,
clopeg.
clopegs.
Clopeg. And Faye and Tony are discussing baby names back at the house, back at the lighthouse, if you will. And Faye says, "We're not having Oliver, but maybe Rhonda." And Pontillo, he interjects here, and he says, Tony then suggests the name Rhonda. Is this meant to be a play on words for round the twist? Rhonda twist?
Absolutely.
Yes, I thought so too. At first I was like, what? Because they paused as if for a joke. And I went, what is the joke? I don't get the joke. And then I sat there and I was going,
it ticked over.
Rhonda twist. Rhonda twist. Yeah. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent joke, to be honest. Like, it was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It really reminded me, remember that Dragon Ball Z movie? Not the animated ones, but the actual live action one, which was called Dragon Ball E. And they said, there's some acronym, and they said GBE.
No, that's what they do is they go...
Isn't that a good acronym? Doesn't that have a ring to it? It's like, get out of here.
So how it actually goes is it's something
like... Oh, yeah, okay. You need to actually get it specific. So it wasn't enough just to reference it. You have to actually get the name correct.
I can't remember the exact name of the calculator or little fucking Dragon Ball finder, but it's called the Dragon Ball... it might have been like emulator or something like that. So it finds the
Dragon Ball emulator.
Yeah, we'll just call it that, right? And then it goes, or DBE for short. DBE has a nice ring to it. And everyone was like...
There was groans in the cinema, and we weren't even seeing it on opening night. We were singing it like Saturday at the worst cinema in town, the now renovated Red Bank Cinema, which was a hole in the ground, basically. Yep. A big hole in the ground with seats.
My experience with that movie, Joe, was...
What?
The first time I saw it, I actually enjoyed myself because...
You'd lie.
No, because everyone went in there with these expectations of, it's going to be so great, great. And then me and my friend, right, we all went to see the movie together, all friends of us, but no, me and another friend.
Which friend?
How can I describe it? He likes swords. Yeah, that's the best way to say it.
The friend with swords, yes.
The friend with swords, yep. We both had very low expectations. Like, we thought this movie was just going to be the shittest movie like we've ever seen. Like, it's just going to be terrible. And it was pretty bad. But it was not the shittest movie I ever seen. So I was like, oh, it's actually better than shit. So I was enjoying myself where everyone else was like, oh, it's so awful. They ruined my childhood. And that made me enjoy my experience more because I know people around me were feeling terrible and like, oh no, the movie's awful. And they were probably crying and that made me laugh. And so I had a great time.
What was the shittest movie that you've ever seen?
Troll 2, probably.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad.
I don't know, man. I think there's worse than that.
It's like, dude, it's like 5 minutes.
It's pretty bad, but everyone thinks it's pretty cliche at this point.
Yeah, but like when I can literally...
You may as well say The Room. Oh, The Room's the worst.
No, but The Troll 2 really was the worst. Like, it was one of those movies where I just looked at my clock every 5 minutes and it felt like hours that movie fucking went on, but it really didn't. It dragged so long. I just couldn't. But it has great scenes in it. Yeah, it has fucking great scenes, like the one where he's like
popcorn witch.
Yeah, popcorn witch, but also like what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm tightening my belt so my sister don't suffer hunger pains.
And he gets up on the table and pees all over the food. Yeah. It's probably overdone to do a Troll 2 podcast.
Oh, it is. It totally is. But if you haven't seen it, like, just watch some of the select scenes. Don't watch the whole movie.
The kids roll in, the twists, and they're like, oh, what's going on? And Pete says, what about Buster or Fido for a kid's name? Buster or Fido Twist? What do you think?
Buster or Fido. I like the name Buster.
Buster Twist?
Buster is such a 40s name. Like, if you were born in the 40s, that would be your name.
Buster Bronx.
Buster Bronx or Buster Brown.
Buster Brown. Buster Brown's a good name.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah.
It's a solid name.
Yeah.
BB.
BB.
Hey, BB.
Hey, BB, get over here, man.
Meet me at the diner at 6.
And yeah.
We're going to go and...
They're going to go play some stickball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Pete starts eating roast with his face.
Yep.
Some roast on the table and he's just eating it with his face. Like a dog, perhaps.
Yes. And Tony comments about that.
And what does Tony say?
Well,
you lead into it and you don't even have it prepared. What are you doing?
Yeah. So,
how long have we been podcasting, Anthony?
So he starts eating the dog food, and Tony starts getting upset about it, and he starts commenting about how Pete's nose is wet, right?
Yes.
And he says, but that's for a dog. You're not a dog.
Yes.
You know, which...
He actually... I'll do a you.
Okay, you're doing me.
Tony says, your nose is very cold and wet, Pete. And Pete says, it's how you know I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And Faye says, that's for a dog, not a human.
You're not a dog, basically.
Yes, that is basically what is said.
I just wanted to bring up
the
little
point
it up. That in
what point?
Was it in some translations of the Bible?
Okay.
And I think it's Galatians. Paul refers to sexual deviants as dogs.
Well, there you go. That's an interesting fact.
There's a little tidbit if you're following, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, this was back in the olden times. This was back in the 2000s.
Oh,
you got to jump in the old 2000s mindset where it was like, oh, it's not really that acceptable, but I'll laugh at Will and Grace. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro.
So sexual deviants, you mean gay people are called dogs? Is that what you're saying here?
I think so. It's not. There's no real clear reference to say that it's just those, but it's more like any sexual immorality, I guess, is referred to.
Does that include adulterers?
Dogs. Yeah, no, because I think adulterers are kept separately identified as adulterers. But it would be people who, I guess...
have foot fetishes. Furries.
Yeah, maybe have something like that. Or even people who are engaging in consensual adultery, potentially.
Okay,
so like
swingers
or something might be considered sexually immoral.
Would consensual swinging furries be considered dogs?
I imagine. Yeah, well, yeah, they're furries, so actually it works. I imagine. Yeah, probably. And back then it made sense. I mean, it's olden times. I don't fucking know.
You can get away with anything you want in the olden times.
Yeah.
The olden times were great. You could go and just burn people because you thought they had magical powers.
Exactly. But even it's only because you really wanted their land, or they had their sheets and they were too white, and you're like, how'd they get those white sheets? That must be witchcraft.
Or when Moses goes up, is it Moses? Yeah, when Moses goes up on top of the mountain, you can just burn everyone's jewelry and make a big golden god.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the kind of thing that went down in the olden days.
Which is always weird to me.
Anything matters.
It's always weird to me that then Moses gets mad and he's like, oh, you guys are turning to idols. But it's like, but did they know that they weren't supposed to read with idols? Isn't that on the commandments? How'd they know that? How'd they know they weren't supposed to follow idols?
I think it's fairly common sense, you know. They had this god already, and then they made a new god. He wasn't even gone that long. He was gone a couple of weeks or something. Maybe it was months. I don't know. But you'd think it would take years for a god to develop.
Now I remember, it's not that they make an idol to the god that they currently worship.
No, they make a new god.
Yeah, a new god. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I could see Moses getting mad about that.
I can't remember if they made a new god or if it was, you know, a Babylonian god that they just made an idol to. Because it was Baal or something.
Baal, I think it was Baal. I'm not sure.
Who was a Babylonian god, right?
Yeah, I think Exodus was written while the Jews were in exile in Babylon, so that might have had some influence on I don't know.
Bibleologist,
and we have one.
And we do have one.
Yes.
Phil Bates, let us know the origin story of Baal.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
I want a detailed description. I want page-by-page references.
Maybe not that specific, but, you know. Just
in chapter so-and-so of this book, Baal is referenced, and if you look in this ancient Mesopotamian... I don't really want that. Let's be honest. I'm not going to read that. You know,
exactly.
Just a line.
Yeah, just a couple of lines to say, "Now Baal was this," and I go, "Oh, okay."
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Except when you listen to this podcast, and then you just hear a bunch of misinformation.
Exactly.
Tony asks Linda if Pete's okay, and Bronson explains that she has taken a vow of silence. And Pontillo interjects again, and he says that Linda says. He says that Bronson says she's taken a vow of silence. It's how the ancient monkeys achieved excitement. This is probably the best Bronsonism that has ever been.
Yeah, actually, absolutely is.
The ancient monkeys achieved excitement.
Yeah. I also thought that bow was sort of like a bow wow, maybe, because there's a lot of dog puns.
Lil Bow Wow.
Yow 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 yippee yo yippee yay. Yeah, you know it's called Bow Wow now.
Is he? He's not little anymore?
No, he's not.
Is he still a rapper? Is he still in the game?
I don't think so. All he does is star in Need for Speed 3.
Was he in Need for Speed 3?
No, what was that movie called?
Need for Speed.
Fast and the Furious 3. That's it.
Was he in Fast and Furious 3? I thought he was in Need for Speed.
No, so in Fast and Furious 3, he was...
What car movie?
Okay, you know the one Tokyo Drift?
Yeah.
Right? You haven't seen it, have you?
Isn't that 2? No, that's 3.
That's 3, right?
I don't
Tokyo
know.
Drift, he's the black guy.
I've seen Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, so he's the black guy. He's the friend of the American.
It's awful.
No, it's probably the best of the Need for Speed movies.
It's schlock.
It's great. It's good fun.
It's the definition of schlock.
Look, it's schlock, but as schlock, it's the best of those movies. If you're going to say, oh, yeah, it's enjoyable, it's when Justin Lin took over, right? And his versions were much better than the other ones.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's nighttime. Pete's upstairs in his room. We see a shot of his room, and Pontillo says he sees an NBL Victoria Titan sticker on Pete's bedhead, as well as a miniature lighthouse, and possibly a Street Shark toy.
Oh, there you go.
Did you watch the Street Sharks?
What were the Street Sharks?
They kind of like mighty biker mice from Mars or Ninja Turtles, except they were sharks.
On the street?
They're like guys who had shark torsos and heads.
What?
I think they had arms as well. So, from the waist up, the shark.
That sounds insane. I never saw that, but that sounds awful. I thought a Street Shark was like some sort of like toy or something.
Yeah, it is a toy.
It is?
From the TV show.
Oh.
It's like you have a Ninja Turtles toy.
No, I thought like it was like some sort of thing you ride as like a Street Shark. Like.
Oh, you mean like a bike?
Oh, yeah, like those retarded
like a green
bikes.
Machine?
Green machines, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. Those retarded bikes. They were retarded bikes.
You're not allowed to say that.
Why not? They were really retarded.
You can't. You're not allowed to use the R word, man.
Okay, well...
This is a safe space podcast.
Well, if a special person built a bike, it would look like that.
You cannot say things like that. That is very offensive.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck it. All right, whatever. I was going to say something else there, but, you just get offended more.
There's just so much offense.
Yeah, so much offense, man.
Yeah.
Full speed on the offense train. Choo-choo.
Yeah, I'll have to build a gate to get through it.
Yep.
Pete, he starts to get hairy because Dracumite bites him and runs away because of the lightning storm. And Pete's getting hairy and he grows a tail and he's chasing it around in circles and he says, I'm going to the dogs. Mm-hmm. The mysterious knight appears in the bathroom where Pete's ended up and Pete barks at her. And then she disappears and he runs into the wall. I did say she.
She.
All right, spoiler time. It is actually a she.
Yeah. There you go.
Which you knew already.
Well, apparently you did. I did not know that.
Because I have seen this episode and all of the episodes before.
It's all new to me.
You massive poser.
Also, I can tell when someone's a woman and when someone's not a woman generally.
Yeah, it's
because they look like a woman and they sound like a woman.
It's meant to be a man. You're meant to think it's a man.
Well, she's doing a shit job of it. She sounds like a girl, looks like a girl.
They've put a thing on her voice to make it deeper.
Yeah, it's not working, is it?
Because it's kind of a bit like this. You know how all women speak when they have the deeper thing on them, where it kind of sounds a bit deep, but it's not really.
You know that they could have done is like
yeah.
Okay,
what could have they done?
They could have had the helm down of the helmet. Okay.
Okay.
Helm down, helmet, and when she appears, right, she's got the helm down and she speaks, and the speaking is a little deeper because she's got the helmet down, right? And you just swap in a male voice essentially, and you just put the male voice up a bit, and people were just like, "Oh, it's a guy," and then she flips up her helmet, and holy shit, it's a girl. You didn't see that one coming. That would make way more sense, and it would fit the night theme. But they were like, "No, we can't do that because reasons." You'd actually pay you would pay the character as well, the actor, less because she's got less face time. Save some money there.
Yeah, it was probably a contract thing that they need to have a face, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
people like to look at faces.
Yeah, they do like to look at faces. That is true.
How much do you like to look at faces?
Well, I don't know, but I know that most people like to look at faces. If you look at heat map tests, that's the strongest draw is faces. When a face comes on screen, all eyes just navigate from whatever's in focus to the face. All right, so faces always draw attention. Yeah. There's a little fact for you.
I don't really want to talk about faces anymore.
No, you don't want to talk about faces either.
Downstairs, the Gribble Gang enters. Looking for the flea. And Tiger says,
he's a male, he's Caucasian, and he's got a chumpy disposition.
I really like the Gribbles this season.
They're all right.
The Gribble Gang, I will say, they have the best chemistry of the Gribble Gangs. Like, I'm really enjoying them as a gang. Solo units, maybe there's the different characters of season 1, but together as a gang, I think this is probably the best Gribble Gang because they're far more enjoyable.
Rank the Gribble Gangs.
Season 3, Season 1, Season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Season 2 is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
Season 1
Or
has...
season... When I say season 3, we're talking season 4 as well, you know.
Well, yeah. Season 3, Season 4 have the same Gribble gang. But Season 1 had a very good tiger, possibly the best individual tiger.
Absolutely.
And I think the best individual rabbit as well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But the actual Gribble, he's okay. Whereas, I see what you're saying. Like, individually, if you're ranking the characters, probably all of the Season 1
Are better.
would be better individually. But as a group, the chemistry is stronger, and they do have the back and forth and the comedic interplay.
They have really good scenes together, like
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters scenes. This scene, I like the one where he comes and he goes, he's Caucasian, male, and has a strong disposition to biting. And I just liked seeing them go on their little, like, trying to find this mite and all the little elaborate plans they have. It's really fun to watch them in the background. And it's not just, oh, here's the annoying, what do you call them, villains?
Yeah.
I guess. Here's
Like
the
in
annoying
Season 2.
Team Rocket or something.
They're the annoying Team Rocket in Season 2.
Yeah.
Rabbit says he'll suck your blood, and Gribble says one bite, and you'll be bloodthirsty fiend. And Tony doesn't believe them, and Tiger says, his 3 bites make it permanent. You turn into some sort of hound. You turn into a werewolf if you get bitten 3 times.
You turn into a dog forever.
A dog forever. And there's howling and toilet flushing, and the Gribbles run away because they think it's a werewolf. And Tony says, Pete needs more roughage.
That's a little joke there, guys. A little pun.
That is a joke that was in the episode. In the park, Mr. and Mrs. Gribble see garbage on the ground, and they're mad because they like their park to be pristine. And they go over, and they start picking it up, but Pete sniffs Mr. Gribble's bum, and they run away.
You know, it's a
He's
weird...
been attacked!
It's a weird setup that Matron and Harold would care so much about trash in the park. They're not going to do that. That's not in their character, all right? What it would have made, like, if they're going to have trash, you could say, oh, it's disgusting, you know, but they would have just commented on that, you know, oh, there's disgusting ferals, but they wouldn't have done anything about it. It should have been something like some money or something was left there. Like, it was garbage, but then what they saw was like a broken piggy bank with some money in it, like some coins, and Harold was like, oh, you know, there's some cash there. Well, you know, let's clean up some of this garbage because it's got cash.
Yeah.
They go to get it, and then the dog spooks him. That would make more sense.
They are riffing here about the cleaners not cleaning up the park even though they're paid, and there's something about Rabbit and Gribble. I think they're paying the teenagers to clean everything up for them, as they always do. They pay these unreliable teenagers to do jobs for them.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is going to get them far in the long run.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Nepotism always wins.
Pete's roaming about, and he's peeing on a tree. Then he hears Mrs. Offenbach barking. And Fiona's dog, Mrs. Offenbach, appears. And Pete loves her. It's love at first sight. He loves this dog. Miss Offenbach. Sorry, Miss Offenbach.
It's important.
It's important that she be a miss. Yes. Offers Pete her bone. And Pete's in love. And then he looks over the fence and he witnesses Maurice declare his love for Fiona. And Fiona accepts.
Yeah, what Maurice is saying is echoing exactly what Pete had said to Miss Offenbach.
Well, it's close. It wasn't exactly. It was a bit more elaborate.
Pretty close, but it was sort of a mirror. It was interesting that. What do you think? What do you make of that?
Well,
is
Pete's in love with her dog.
Wait, it's coincidental that they both sort of say the similar things, or is it just they both say this like it's a cliche romantic line?
The latter, I think. Fiona then declares Pete a boy. I was in love with a boy, but you're a mature boy, and you make me feel like a mature girl.
That's the closest thing to saying that I'm a woman, I guess, but you couldn't really say that because of the sexual undertones of declaring a maiden to be a woman. What? You didn't see that either?
Pete jumps over the fence, and it looks like he's going to attack them, and then we hard cut away. I don't know what was supposed to happen after this.
I don't know. I thought like maybe like Pete would have just growled in the or barked really, really loud and then run away, and Maurice would have been scared and was like, what was that? Oh, sorry, some dog pun. What's a dog pun you could have?
Mutt.
Maurice can't say anything, right? Oh, wait, Maurice can. He just said something.
What do you mean Maurice can't say anything?
Well,
he has several lines in this episode.
Yeah, but remember, like, we're talking about as an actor, right? There's different stages of being an actor. You can have a cameo role, and cameo roles are usually restricted to, like, a couple of lines.
There are different
that changes
grades,
the pay grades, yeah. So it's like, well, if we give him an extra line, which would have been, you know, a moment where it's like, oh, what was that? Oh, I'm doggone scared. Or, sorry, I just came up with an hour. Sorry, guys. Or that dogged me. Or hound. Fucking hounds abound. Come on, help me out here.
You hound me at hello.
Yeah, hound me at hello, yeah. Something like that.
In the morning, Linda and Bronson step outside the lighthouse, and Pete is sleeping on the doorstep. He goes upstairs, and Tony's mad. He says, "Stop being an animal," and he leaves. You know, pretty angry. I would be angry too if my son was turning into an animal.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Pete loves Miss Offenbach, even when he's in human form.
Yeah.
He's turned back to human, by the way. Did we mention that he turned into a dog? Was that completely missed over?
Well, no, he didn't turn into a dog. He turned into a partial dog.
It's like
a
Wolfman. If you've seen Wolfman, he turns into that.
It's kind of weird because it's a vampire makes a wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess you're going to have to go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got his bone from the other dog, Miss Offenbach, and he says, "I'm a dog trapped in a boy's body until the full moon." Is this where you want to get on your bike and ride?
Well, I'm going to
Fat
bring in
bottom girls that
make the rocking world go. So I'll bring it up a little bit, which is that P is a dog trapped in a boy's body, as we said. You know, a dog is used to describe, you know, sexual morality. I already said that. Now, we're talking about from the older period, from the early 2000s, when people thought being transgender, I guess, and gay are synonymous, right?
Okay.
If you're like, oh, I like, or even cross-dressing is synonymous with being gay. That might be another one as well. You know, so the idea is this is all proof that he's gay at some level, that he's attracted to his same sex. He might even want to be a woman or identify as a woman, right?
He's not heteronormative.
He's not heteronormative. That's a good answer to that. And so this is another example of it. You know, he's a boy trapped in a dog trapped in a boy's body, essentially. So yeah, that's what I'm bringing up.
He's a dog trapped in a boy's body.
Yeah, a dog trapped in a boy's body. When he becomes a man, will he become a dog or will he become a man?
I don't know. I guess that's
puberty. Puberty is the gateway to manhood.
Yes.
So it depends. What is his puberty going to lead him? Is it going to go down the path of, oh, I like women and I like girls? That's the facade I want to put up. Or is it going to be that, you know, maybe I'll embrace my real inner true feelings?
Do you think it was actually intended that he be a gay character? Like, all reading into it aside, was that the actual intended reading?
Look, I don't know, because it's really hard to go back in time and really picture if that's what it was, because right now that's what it feels like it totally is. Because one scene that comes up later on, and I'll bring it up, is when Pete and Tony are having a conversation about this, and Tony's a little bit more accepting of it. And it's like, oh, that sounds a lot like someone coming out of the closet and their father being like, no, you can't be a dog, or you can't be gay, and then the father saying, you know what, I accept you as being gay.
Yeah, which all happens a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can see that, how they did that there, but it's weird, isn't it?
It is.
This episode, and this season, and the last season, and just the way that Pete's portrayed in general.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so strange, because I keep thinking about the character Pete was in season 1.
Yeah.
And he's so far removed from this Pete.
Yeah.
It's not even the same character anymore.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's elements from all the Lindas that carry across, but Pete changes so radically that he's not even the same. Even Bronson, who is fairly different throughout all the incarnations, still saying, you know, still similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony becomes less and less masculine.
Yeah.
Pete does as well, but to such a massive extent that, you know, it's unrecognizable.
Exactly.
Street. Well, I'm not saying that gays can't be masculine.
No, I know what you're saying, but you're saying that as a means to portray a theme or a symbolic. By making a masculine character less masculine, you can make them effeminate, and effeminate ideals are strongly linked with homosexuals.
Yes.
At least back then. Even now, still. Like, you know, it wouldn't fly today. People would actually complain that if this was happening, they'd say, oh, you know, you're making the gay character Pete too pussy or fancy or whatever, you know, a little too much of a punce.
I don't think so. I think people would say, oh, Pete's actually gay. Just let him have a gay relationship.
Actually, that's exactly right. Why does he have to always go for Fiona? Why can't he just find a boyfriend or some shit?
Yeah.
And then
that's
the writers, here's the thing, the writers might not even have thought about that the way that we're reading into it now.
Yep.
And they'll be like, oh shit, do I have to make him gay? Like, I thought, no, what? And they read through their notes and the whole season planned, he's going to go back with Fiona. Well, we can't do that now because he's not gay. We never intended for that. Oh shit, he's gay now. All right.
Yeah, that could happen.
That's what would probably happen today.
That's probably what would happen. Out on the street, Gribble's announcing to the town that the dangerous dog is loose And he's got his megaphone. He's doing his megaphone drive-by that he likes to do. There's a dangerous dog on the loose. Be careful. It's going to eat everyone.
Yep.
And the Gribble gang offer Fiona and Maurice the vampire flea scanner that they've built, which is a big frame with garlic hanging over it, but they refuse. And Pete growls at Maurice as the twists pass Fiona and Maurice. Why is he angry at me? I don't know. What's his problem? I don't know.
Yeah, what's up with that, eh? Ugh, crazy boy.
Bronson arrives at the vampire detector and he says, "Garlic? You don't need that, Gribbs. Your breath is bad enough to wake the dead."
Oh,
and Gribble says, "That's priceless. In that it's worth nothing."
That was a great comeback. Like,
you know, that's so strong that it burnt.
Yeah, like I'm going to steal that comeback. I'm going to use it at some stage in my life. Yeah.
What opportunity would you use to? What opportunity could arise that you would use that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm 40, 50 years old, and a kid comes up to me or something. My child, if I have a child, and he comes up to me and he says, some joke, and I'll say, "Oh, that's priceless," as in it's worth nothing, and the kid will cry because obviously I've just made fun of a child.
And you'll send him to his room.
Yeah.
And he can stay there with no supper.
Exactly, no supper.
Because you're a horrible father.
And also, his supper is pretty delicious, and I just finished mine, so maybe I want to eat his supper.
And then maybe you might play his video game as well.
Exactly.
Put on his VR headset.
Exactly.
Play whatever Minecraft is available.
VR headsets in the future, my God, it's going to be terrible for teenagers, I tell you what.
I'll tell you what. Gribble ushers the twists through the scanner because they're after their 50,000 Clopeg, and Pete trips to avoid the scanner because he's worried that they're going to find the flea on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to achieve, this apparatus.
Well, remember, you can't bring garlic.
Yeah, but what's going to happen to the flea? Are they going to be able to see it? It's pretty small. Is it just going to run away? Like, what's going to happen?
The flea's going to bounce off.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they're going to catch it?
Well, that's better than, like, they know it's on someone, and it's better than them just going, "Where is the flea?" I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe the flea will move back to where it's been living. So, Pete Twist has it. Well, let's just follow Pete Twist around because the flea jumped off him. I don't know.
Back at the lighthouse, Bronson smell-sucking Pete's bone, which is his kind of arc for the season. He has that smell-sucking vacuum.
So disgusting.
And Linda appears and says, "Ahem. Does this break her veil of silence?"
Yeah, it does.
I thought so too. You
have
cheater,
to dingle
Linda
a bell.
Twist.
You have to dingle a bell or some shit. You can't use your vocal cords. It's like doing this. I'm taking a vow of silence and then going,
Yeah, because it's not silence, is it?
Yeah, it's not at all.
You more specifically, you're taking a vow of not talking.
Or it's whistling. By that logic, you could whistle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not silence, it's just
Not at all.
a vow to not use English.
Yeah.
Speak in Spanish or something.
Or speaking clicks. It's okay. Anyone who actually speaks that language is not listening to this podcast.
You knew exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know.
That's borderline racist. Actually, that's more than borderline.
What?
Is it? We've had that discussion
No,
before.
we're not having that discussion. We have not. All right. The click language from, I don't know what African tribe.
Gods be crazy. The gods.
Well, the real people do speak with that clicking language.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one knows how to do it except for them. And
So are you allowed to copy it?
Yeah, because they're never going to hear it. And you can't speak it. Like, at all. You know involves clicks, so you just go, and you have no idea what that means. It could mean you're looking really good, or I F your mother. I have no idea. It could mean any of those things. But they're never going to hear it, so who cares?
You really threw me off there. Linda appears, and Bronson quickly leaves, and he says to her he suspects that Pete is the were-dog because he's been barking and slobbering and scratching his nuts, but maybe he's not because he does all those things anyway.
Exactly. That's what boys do, though.
And Bronson says, "I'm jumping to transfusions. There's no way Pete is a werewolf." And Linda and Bronson open the door to the bathroom, and Pete is drinking from the toilet, and Linda and Bronson are shocked.
Quite shocking to see. It's almost like walking in on your brother, and he's wearing pantyhose, and he's kind of got a bra on. Maybe he's got some makeup on, you know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down, Joe?
What are you saying here?
He's like caught him in the bathroom, and he's like dressing up. He's acting like his inner self.
I feel like if they were going to do something like that, they would have done it pretty blatant on Round the Twist. They would have had Pete actually turn into a woman or something. They kind of did that already. He gave birth.
Yeah, well, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's night. It's the full moon. Pete's locked in his room. Linda and Bronson are trying to get in. They're trying to convince him not to get bitten, because 3 bites are permanent. 3 bites and you're out, says Bronson. We see the wall. On the wall, there's some photos. In the photos, We see childhood photos of Pete and a girl that is possibly Linda, says Pontillo.
No.
Pete?
Do you know if it was current Pete? I imagine it was, or like previous seasons Pete.
Current.
Okay.
Pete wants to be a dog forever. He's not listening to them. This is his plan. Dracumite emerges from a coffin matchbox and bites and transforms Pete. Pete goes to Miss Offenbach's house, and they run romantically to each other. They give each other chocolates.
Yep.
He gives her roses. They eat spaghetti, like in Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
The Gribble Gang, they're monster hunting. They're in monster hunting gear. Rabbit says, I bet you 1,000 Clopegs were in the wrong direction. They hear howling ahead, and he's wrong, and he says, can I make my repayments in weekly installments? Because, obviously, the ongoing joke here is that 50,000 Clopegs is a lot of money.
It is.
Pete confesses his love for Miss Offenbach, and the Gribbles recognize Pete, and they start chasing him. They're chasing him through the forest. There's chasing and running and chasing and running and chasing.
It's a fantastically scary but also wonderful chase scene.
And then a dog catcher catches Pete.
Yeah. Puts a little thing around his neck and it's like, come on, boy, come on.
Yeah, it's the morning, and Tony's collecting Pete from the pound, and he's pretty mad. Pete, I've found you in the pound, mate. Things have gone too far.
Exactly.
And Pete says, listen, Dad, I'm in love with Miss Offenbach. I want to be a dog forever. Miss Offenbach is my soulmate. And Tony doesn't know who to call. Who would you call if you had a son that wanted to be a beast?
I don't know. You'd probably tell him to stay away from the internet. I can tell you that much. It's only going to make it worse for him.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for any parents out there that their son wants to be something else?
Like a dog, you mean?
A dog or a dragon?
Oh, yeah, in those cases,
or
yeah. I got advice for
anything,
parents.
And anything that they're not.
Yeah, I got an advice for that. Is that you get your hand, right, and then you smack it right across their face.
Whoa.
And then you smack it again until they stop thinking this retarded nonsense.
You're very intolerant.
Well, I'm very intolerant when people think they're fucking animals. I'm sorry, but you're not. You're a person. You don't have fucking wings. You can't fly.
But
right.
What if they identify as a raccoon?
Yeah, well, then they can go off into the bushes and bloody get bitten by a raccoon and develop rabies and die. All right? Just enough of that nonsense.
You're very intolerant, Anthony.
Yeah, well, someone's got to be.
Someone's got to be. Isn't that Donald Trump? Isn't he the man that...
The savior,
the intolerant savior,
the savior who sent back in time to stop the wolf people from coming.
The wolf people apocalypse. There's a small tribe of people that identify as wolves, and nobody did anything to stop them, and then they learned their true power and took control of humanity. Exactly. And Donald Trump is the savior that has been sent from the future to stop that from happening.
See, everyone thinks that the wall that Trump wants to build is to keep Mexicans out.
No, it's not.
It's to keep the wolves in so we can start hunting.
What a movie that would be. Pete sees Fiona and Maurice with dogs. So Maurice has his own dog. And Miss Offenbach gives her bone to Maurice's schnauzer.
That bitch.
Well played. And Pete is heartbroken. It's back of the lighthouse, and Bronson and Linda are going to put flea powder on Pete, and the Gribbles burst in. They say, we want to take the flea peacefully so we can get the Clopegs. We want 50,000 Clopegs. It's a lot of money. Let's not kill this flea. So the Gribbles and Twists, they can't find it in his hair. They're all going through his hair, and they say, listen, we've got a plan. Let's use Pete as bait.
That's really safe, isn't it?
Pete sits in the middle of the lounge room and begins to play a song. And Pontillo says, we see Pete playing a guitar. Although Pete, throughout all 4 series, presumably plays the guitar. This is the first time it's been confirmed since Season 1, Episode 13, which was the last time apparently he played the guitar, which was the Lighthouse Blues episode in which he plays Danny Boy. Oh, Danny Boy. Is that copyright? Is Danny Boy in copyright?
I think it is, actually. I think it's in public domain now.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I hope so.
We go on with what's happening in the episode, and the next thing happens, and that is he's sitting in the living room singing, and the others are hiding with equipment. They've all got protective equipment on, and they've got different catching mechanisms. And Linda sees the flea, but she can't break her vow. She can't break her vow of silence, and then she just does anyway.
Yeah.
Because apparently it was never a big deal to begin with. And the flea jumps, and Pete jumps out of the way, and the flea lands on Miss Offenbach, and WTF is she doing here?
Yeah, she was not introduced in the scene, like...
No.
Yeah, it was weird. It's like, let's just bring Miss Offenbach into the scene, and you don't see that she was there to begin with.
Linda catches the flea from Miss Offenbach and says, "You dirty bloodsucker." And Pete says, "Sometimes you just have to follow your nature."
Yeah, sometimes you do.
And Tony comes down and he says, "Listen, Pete, if you want to be a dog and love dogs, I'm okay with that." And Pete says, "Whatever, Dad. I'm over that now."
It's just a phase.
It's just a phase.
Which, again, another thing, right?
Yeah.
No, there's another case there, the father accepting his son, but then the son being like regressing back into the closet. I'm like, oh, it's just a phase. Don't worry about that, Dad. But it turns out it's really not.
In the park, Fiona leaves Maurice. She's over with Maurice because he doesn't have enough animal magnetism for her. And the Twists and Gribble return the flea for their reward, which is 50,000 Clopegs, or they can get it in Australian currency, which is $5. And according to Victor von Helsing, is enough for ice cream for everyone. I think not.
Yeah,
Victor
mate.
von Helsing, $5, enough ice cream for everyone. Where are you shopping, buddy?
McDonald's, getting one of your 30-cent cones, right?
They're 30 cents again, aren't they?
No, I don't know. I haven't been
They
McDonald's
used to
for a
be
while.
50 cents.
Yeah, it's because they put them up and then it was like, McDonald's was like, oh shit, we're losing money. We better lower our prices on those cones,
Let's be honest, they can't afford the 30-cent cone because they cost nothing. Next to nothing.
It does cost next to nothing.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
We'll just read through Pontillo's...
Final note as well.
Oh, we've got a couple of notes here from Pontillo. The first is, James, Tiger and Rabbit received the reward of 50,000 gold Clopex, which turns out to be equal to around $5 Australian. Out of my own curiosity, I researched where Clopex were an official currency. It appears that the writers created currency for use in this episode, although there is such a currency as Clopex, which exists in Russia. As an experiment, I applied the currency exchange of 50,000 Clopex to Australian dollars. If my maths are correct, 50,000 Clopex is equal to 500 Russian rubles, which then converts to around 10 Australian dollars, which doesn't match $5 conversion in the episode, but is remarkably close. And you know what I say to you, Pontillo?
Big Mac Index.
Big Mac Index? I say inflation.
Yeah, that too. Inflation and Big Mac Index.
Oil prices.
And also very good there. That was really good on Pontillo's part.
That's why we love him.
Exactly. That's why we do. It's like, shit.
And not in a Pete way, but if you did love him in a Pete way, that would be okay. We love him in a...
You want to love him in a Pete way, it's fine. Just don't dress up with bloody rabbit ears and shit and just go around eating grass. Furry. You can do that, but I'll point you out. I'll point out to people and say, look at that freak over there eating grass. Well, I won't point that out. I'll just think, look at that freak over there eating grass.
Look at that furry.
Look at that furry. Why do you call them a furry freak? They're interchangeable, right?
That's so rude. They're people too.
Well, they are people. I'm glad that they admit it.
That brings us to Pontillo's summary, and he said, a few things come to mind when watching this episode. Teen Wolf and Goosebumps, not Ghost Bumps, being a couple of them. If I had to confess any cringeworthy moments in the episode, it would probably be the dog love montage between Pete and Miss Offenbach. Apart from that, not a bad episode considering.
Yeah, exactly. I actually agree. That montage was kind of like, it felt very cringy.
Yes, it did. Did you have any final notes?
No.
Not yours, but from that piece of paper over there?
Oh,
or were they for later?
This is a user message sent to us by Samu. Now, this is not related to Dog by Night, but it's related to a TV show he's been watching. Tomorrow When the War Begun. He says, I've been watching this new show, Tomorrow When the War Began, and it's funny to see all grown-up Gribs playing the father of one of the main characters. So the lead Gribble Jr. is actually the father of one of the main characters, which is pretty neat, I have to say. It's apparently a 6-part TV show on ABC3. And, I kind of like the movie, so I wouldn't mind having a look at the TV show sometime. Maybe doing some supplementaries. I don't know. Who knows?
Sure. Any thoughts on the episode we just watched?
Yes, thoughts on the episode. I thought it was a relatively alright episode.
Relatively?
It was relatively okay. I mean, I gave it 6 out of 10 bowls of homosexual metaphors covered in parmesan cheese.
Pontillo has rated the episode and he says 6 out of 10 bowls of dog food because I'm not allowed to eat at the dinner table anymore.
When you're a dog.
Well played.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 dirty dog bones.
Good rating there, Joe.
Yes. That sums up our talking about the episode. If you would like to follow us on social media, you can do that on pretty much any platform.
Exactly.
We're Tales from the Twists.
Yep.
The best way to get into contact with us is on Facebook, where we are Tales from the Twists.
Or send us an email.
Or send us an email on talesfromthetwists@gmail.com.
That's great.
But the ultimate best way, the way that is better than the best way, is Chicken Twisties,
Yep.
which is a Facebook group we have on Facebook. You type in Chicken Twisties, and it should be there.
Yeah.
And then you can join
There'll
it.
be a link down in the notes of this episode, so you should be fine.
And you can talk to us there about whatever you want, including the
Exactly.
episodes, and you can send in your feedback that we will read out on the show. So if
Exactly.
you have pontifications or philosophies or, I
Anything.
don't know, what's another name pun?
Thunderstony Thunders.
Sure, why not? And that is the end of the episode.
Yep. End of the
So-
episode. And last thing that Joe forgot to mention,
What?
and it's probably very important, is guys, if you haven't subscribed on iTunes, give us a good subscribe. It's really good, actually. It's really great if you subscribe us on iTunes, if you use iTunes as a podcast catcher, I guess.
Rate us on
Rate us
whatever podcatcher you use,
Yeah, exactly.
because it's all
And consider
Good.
sharing us with a friend. Why not? Just be like, hey, man, this podcast is great. Just, you want to have a listen? You should have a listen. It's pretty cool, man. Just do that for old Uncle Anthony.
Uncle Anthony.
Old Uncle Anthony.
Uncle Anthony sounds like a bit of an unsavory fellow.
He does sound like an unsavory fellow.
Don't listen to Uncle Anthony. Listen to Uncle Joe.
Exactly.
He's
Uncle Joe.
gonna set you right.
Exactly.
And that is everything that we are going to talk about today. Have a great week.
Yeah.
Stay twisty out there. It's a tough place, the world. My name's Joe Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
Stay twisty.